Okay, after the very lopsided edition of Raw last night and the fact that I was really busy over the weekend trying to get the last minute videos shot and put on private so people could get them next Friday and Sunday while I'm gone, I had almost no time to shoot an Impact recap. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to talk about Impact. And I'll do one last video before I leave tonight, since I have to actually be leaving this house at 3:45 a.m. tomorrow. Since technically this is Tuesday. So yes, 3:45 a.m. tomorrow I will be leaving for Columbus, and my flight is at 7 in the morning. So yeah. This will be fun. I'll be boarding about 6:40. So yay, almost no sleep for Owen. But that's how it works sometimes. So, I'm going to shoot you guys out this last wrestling recap. Like I said, I can't promise anything. I'm going to try to do no surrender because the card sounds awesome. So, I may try. I'm going to bring this with me. This is my handy dandy notebook. And this is how I do all my notes for the shows. Or verbatim, depending on how you do it. And apparently I just knocked some sort of a coin to the ground. Oh well, no worries there. So, let's talk about Impact from last week, shall we? Show started out with a lot of patriotism. Sounds like what happened at the end of Raw this week. But Impact did it first, legitimately. Apparently, there is the color guard of somewhere, and they are playing the national anthem. Jeremy Borash brings out Chris Melendez for the first time. This is going to be his official debut. And I get the first joke of the evening, which is not really quite a joke. I hear the grew up in Spanish Harlem, and the only thing that comes to my mind was living a life just like a movie star. So yeah, I had to make that reference. I just had to. Chris Melendez taking on Zema Ion. This match was short, straight and to the point. Zema got a lot of offense here, and Melendez was on the offensive. He goes for a fireman's carry. DJZ lands on his feet and locks in a side headlock. Gets shoved off. DJZ puts on the brakes and catches Melendez with a back elbow, and he gets caught with a Samoan drop for the 3 count. So, big win for Chris Melendez in his TNA debut. And should be some big things to come from Chris Melendez, the Sarge, if you will, in TNA. And it's really great PR for Impact right now. So you can say what you want about TNA, all the situations they've had. They've not had the greatest luck when it comes to PR lately. But thankfully, this has fallen into their laps at the right time. And not only are we getting to see a true American hero, we're getting to see Impact get some good PR for a change, which is something that Impact is dying to get right now, and that's good press. So that's out of the way. We get our next segment. Excuse me. Bobby Roode comes out. He says there's no better feeling than he has right at this very moment. He has to acknowledge his opponent from last week, Showtime Eric Young. His best friend in the whole entire world. No other man has brought out the best in him, time in and time out, like Showtime. And for that, he thanks Eric Young, personally. And to me, you will always be a world heavyweight champion. I like that. It was a nice sentiment from Bobby Roode. I know I'm ready now more so than ever before to be once again on top of Impact Wrestling, and I want to once again become the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Next week, and he gets interrupted. Here comes MLK to the ring. MVP on the mic. Excuse me. You know what, Bobby, you want to play the role of the star. Well, you want to be the hero. Well, every action hero has an objective, and every movie star has to overcome some obstacles in order to achieve their goal. So he fights until he grabs that objective, and he wins. But you know what? Bobby, this ain't a movie. This is your true reality. And that man is Lashley. In a week, you get to meet Darth Vader. There is no happy ending. You don't get the title. the best you can hope for is a short hospital stay. Bobby Roode sees fear and doubt in MVP. But when he looks into Bobby Lashley's eyes, he sees nothing of the above. See, you can beat and destroy me all you want, but I know in my heart that I can beat you. You may be bigger and stronger, but my heart and my passion and my desire to once again reclaim the TNA World Heavyweight Championship trumps any of that any day of the week. MVP, you can't do anything about that. MVP's like, you know what, Bobby? See? You're wrong. And he sucker punches Bobby Roode. So Roode and MVP brawl, and of course, Kenny King and Lashley get involved, and here comes Samoa Joe and Eric Young out to even the score, and play, we got ourselves a six-man tag. And that is our next match on the show. It is MLK, which is MVP, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Lashley, as well as the King of the Night, Kenny King, taking on the X Division Champion Samoa Joe, Showtime Eric Young, and the It Factor Bobby Roode. We pick it up midway through the match, and Kenny King with a scoop slam on EY, nails a spring off the bottom rope into a nice leg drop, 1-2, and EY kicks out. Locks on a chin lock, Eric Young elbows his way out, and just pulls him down with the hair. Tag back into MVP. Drops the knee on Showtime. 1 count only. EY kicks out. So EY with a forearm. And he gets caught, and MVP tags in Lashley. So he charges in with a shoulder block in the corner, yanks the arm twice, trying to yank it right out of the socket, and does so after an arm wringer, and then he does it again after another arm wringer. EY tries to punch himself out of this, and he comes off the ropes. Lashley, nice leapfrog, and a vicious clothesline to Eric Young. Eric Young locked in the Jujigatami, and Lashley doesn't really quite have it completely locked on, but it's enough to call for enough pain for EY to counter and roll Lashley on his shoulders, deadlift him up in the air, and single arm powerbomb him out of it. Tagging MVP. Hot tag Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode comes in, clotheslines MVP. Then Kenny King comes in, he eats a clothesline. And then he clotheslines Kenny King again. He whips him in, and it gets reversed. King whips in Bobby Roode, and Roode comes off the ropes with a flying forearm. Inverted atomic drop, high knee, clothesline to MVP. So he goes to the middle rope and hits the flying guillotine off the middle rope, and Kenny King makes a save. Samoa Joe comes in and hits a Samoan drop on Kenny King. Joe eats murder, death, kill, and EY with a missile drop kick on Lashley, and follows up with a pescado on the floor because Lashley's momentum carried him out to the floor. Bobby Roode and MVP stand trading punches in the center of the ring. MVP clothesline is ducked, and MVP tries to go for the drive-by kick, and Bobby Roode picks him up, hits the Roode bomb, and gets the 3 count. So, really good at a fast-paced 6-man tag to continue this episode of Impact. Very enjoyable match. I really liked the chemistry all 6 men had. And MVP is just gold on the mic. Anybody that doesn't believe so, I mean, just seriously, day in, day out, every week, MVP brings it on the mic. And we're building towards a lot of awesome things right here. And obviously we're building towards the Bobby Roode-Lashley confrontation that's actually going to happen this week. Unfortunately, I can't talk about it on No Surrender, which is technically taping, well, it's already taped, but technically it's airing tomorrow night on Spike TV, since Impact's now on Wednesdays. I'll be at Halloween Horror Nights team member preview when, sorry, I apologize for that. But I don't apologize for being in Horror Nights, because it's going to be awesome. So in the back, Brittany, looking gorgeous as ever, runs into Gunner and asks if Samuel Shaw is seeing anyone. And basically, Gunner jumps to conclusions and says, he's seeing a therapist on a regular. And she's like, no, not that. Is he seeing anyone? And Gunner's like, oh, well, how about I find out for you? And she starts twirling her hair, and we're setting towards Samuel Shaw and Brittany working together. I talked about this months ago, and I'm glad they're actually doing something with this. I think it's going to work pretty well. Brittany may be the Yoko Ono that breaks up the friendship or however loose it is, of Gunner and Samuel Shaw. And I think that eventually that's going to lead to Samuel Shaw and Brittany getting away from Gunner. And then Mr. Anderson's going to say, I told you so. And Gunner and Anderson will probably form like a small little tag team for a bit to do a short program with Samuel Shaw and whomever is going to be his partner in this little feud. And I'm sure that's probably the direction we're going. Speaking of directions we're going, Tinder's been used a lot lately, and it facilitated the fact that the Bromans are now with the Beautiful People. So the Beautiful Bros, if you will. So we got 6-person tag match. It is Jesse Goddard and Robbie E. the Bromans teaming up with Velvet Sky of the Beautiful People with Angelina Love and DJ Z in their corner to take on the team of the Menagerie, this time being the ringmaster himself, Nux, Rebel, and the Crazy Steve, the Freak, as well on the floor watching on. So we pick it up, and this is the first time, one of the first times we've seen Rebel in the ring, and she's interesting to say the least. Not quite there yet, but it comes in time. So Jesse hits a knee lift on Crazy Steve, and the Bromans choke him on the ropes. Angelina chokes him behind the referee's back just for good measure, and tag into Velvet Sky. Velvet comes in, slap, and Robbie E tags in and gets sent to the ropes. Lift up DDT to the Bromans, tag in Rebel. So Rebel comes in, Velvet Sky gets tagged in. So a split duck under by Rebel when Velvet goes to throw a clothesline. Clothesline, high kick, whip in reverse, charges into a sunset flip, and the Bromans pull her off. Double cross body on the Bromans by Nux off the ropes. And Crazy Steve gets behind Velvet Sky, grabs his neck, tilts it to the side, and dips Velvet back and kisses her. So yeah, this doesn't go over very well. Pescado on all 3 Bromans, and Velvet runs around, like, basically search for mouthwash at this point, like, spitting out left and right. Not exactly like that, but basically she was like, what did I do? And walks right into a slam from Rebel. Rebel goes to the middle rope, lifts her leg in a high split, which looked phenomenal, by the way. And she looks like she's going for a leg drop off the top. Angelina grabs her foot. Rebel high kicks her off the ring apron. Velvet rolls her up with the tights. See a little bit of her underwear there, actually. She went Lita for this for like a couple seconds. She gets rolled up for the 3 count. This match was alright. I mean, basically just to prolong a feud. Don't know why the Menagerie are working with the Bromans. They really haven't done much on this. I know they started out with this, like, Robbie E. and Jesse being scared of clowns. That's the reason why they're feuding with Menagerie, and that was done a while back, and they look like they're wanting to revisit this feud and bring it in because they don't have anything to do with anybody. They don't have anything to do with the Menagerie right now, and there's nothing that's going on with the Bromans right now, so might as well just put them in an angle. Obviously, Velvet Sky and Angelina not showing any dissension this week, so we'll see what happens. So we get back to Kurt Angle. He's in the back. He says Ethan Carter III has been critical of his job, and he's going to find out who he's going to be fighting very soon. So 3D talk and say it's a tables match in New York City. We won the first, and we picked this stipulation. Obviously, this series won't go any further. We will put either of the 2 teams through a table and thus becoming the 24-time tag team champions. So Kurt Angle does come out next. He gets in the ring and he says, I believe in the direction that Impact Wrestling is going right now. He loves coming to the shows, especially the ones in New York City. And obviously we all hope that Bethlehem, Pennsylvania's crowds are just as hot as New York's were for this round of tapings, like they're going to be starting tomorrow for their set of tapings. I'm proud of all the talent in the back, but Ethan Carter III has been simply a malcontent. EC3 comes out by himself. No Rockstar Spud here. Obviously, that's completely split now. Do you understand what happened? 3D to put my Aunt D through a table. They weren't reprimanded, and they weren't told, like, they weren't even slapped on the wrist. They were just given title shots. And they were given a straight free pass into the Hall of Fame. See, the blood is not just on their hands, or Rhino's hands, or the mutants of the Manhattan Center. No, Kurt, it's on yours as well. Seeing a family member get hurt has changed me. I am now violent, and I'm on the verge of frenzy. I'll dish out some vigilante justice if you do nothing about this. I hold everyone accountable, Kurt. You know what I'm capable of. I've taken you out twice before. If you don't meet my demands, I'll take you out for good. So Angle's like, there you go, making more demands. You know what, I didn't forget what you did to me. And in due time, when I have some spare time on my hands, I will kick your ass. But simply put, you're a wrestler. Don't listen to me. Being your boss, I'll send you home. And EC3 will stay, of course, is what he says. He's like, you know what, someone else wants you more than I do. And there's not going to be a wrestling match tonight. No, there's going to be a street fight. And here comes Rhino out of the crowd, and we start our next match right into an ECW style Ethan Carter III against Rhino in a street fight. We pick it up midway through. EC3 takes off his belt, starts whipping Rhino like a government mule, trademark Jim Ross, and he puts a garbage can up in the corner, you know, setting up your own demise. I've done it time and time again. So, EC3 with a chair shot to the back, gets a 2 off of that. The can is set up, and he goes face first into the dilapidated garbage can 3 times, does Rhino. Rhino returns 3 chops, EC3 whip, countered, belly-to-belly suplex from Rhino, charges into the can when he tries to go for the gore, and of course that allows for a high knee, the 1%er on a steel chair, and that's the end. So EC3 wins a short street fight. It actually was pretty decent for what it was, and the EC3 Rhino feud continues. So, Chris Melendez is sending a message with his performance. He basically says, if you train and fight hard, you can overcome anything. We'll see. We have a segment which is all the knockouts are in the ring to witness the reveal of who is going to be the cover girl for the 2015 TNA calendar. The knockouts version of the calendar. Angelina cuts off JB when he's about ready to make the announcement, and she pretty much says, yeah, thank you, I'm glad that you guys picked me. JB cuts her off and says that the fans actually voted for Velvet Sky. Here comes Havoc. She walks down. Gail meets her in the aisleway, and they start fighting. So, at one point, Gail and Havoc are going at it, and Gail gets sent into the guardrail, finally. Havoc's on top. She gets in the ring. The beautiful people toss Brittany at her, and Brittany eats a chokeslam from the ring apron. Like, Havoc is on the ring apron, and she chokeslams Brittany, who is in the ring, so lays Brittany out. Takes the Knockouts Championship and holds it in the air. And then holds it hostage because she just bombs out. So, more storyline progression leading to Gail, Kim, and Havoc at the Bound for Glory next month, which should be really awesome. I don't know where Taryn Terrell fits in all this, but hopefully she will, because there's still some unfinished business with Taryn Terrell in the Knockouts Championship. So Cowboy James Storm is at his compound, and Great Sonata is at the top, some sort of barn basically, and we see Manic. He is tied to a chair. And Sonata says he's ready, and we see Manic, he's like, I'm here to show you the way. Storm begins. I'm going to show you the path to righteousness and the path to evolution. Why do you wear a mask? My discipline will speak to you. And he takes off the mask after he yells, leave us, and of course, pitch black darkness, you hear the screams of Manic, and that's the end of this. Gail's in the back looking for Havoc in the Knockouts Championship. So, she doesn't find her right away. She's just looking for her right now. We get our next match, this tag team action set up from last week. It is the legend, the Cowboy James Storm, and the Great Sonata in tag team action against Austin Aries and Tajiri. This match was good as well. Storm traps Aries' head in the ring apron. You see a lot of people use that a lot lately. Starts clubbing away, boots him into the side of the head, rolls him back in the ring, 1-2, and Aries kicks out. Tags in Sonata, overhand chop to the neck, and he chokes him in the corner. Referee's distracted. Storm starts choking Aries with the tag rope. Smart way to utilize the referee here. Aries fights his way out of the corner. Elbow to Storm. Sonata cuts off Aries with a forearm and starts choking him. Tag back into the Cowboy. James comes in with a leaping knee and a leg drop. Tajiri kicks him in the small of the back, which breaks up a pin attempt. So he stretches the face, like he's trying to give him a permanent makeover. And he goes for the Eye of the Storm. It gets countered into a forearm, which is basically more of like a rolling elbow. Tags into Tajiri and tagging the Sonata. So 2 round kicks, whip in, reverse, and handspring back elbow. 1-2, Sonata kicks out. Right hand charges in, he gets the boot up, and Tajiri goes for the Tornado DDT, gets tossed off, ducks the overhand chop, side kick, 1-2, Storm makes the save. So Aries comes in, starts pounding away on James Storm, and the tandem 10 punch in opposite corners. And Storm with a low blow on Aries knocks him all the way to the floor. Onto the ring steps, then to the floor. So, more insult to injury. Excuse me. Storm nails Tajiri, whips him in, charges in, locks in the Tarantula and Storm. Sonata misses, duck in on the kick, whip in and Tarantula on Sonata, and Storm grabs the beer bottle, takes a chug on the opposite side of the ring, and beer miss to Tajiri. And Tajiri is down and walks right into the GSK, the Great Sonata Kick, and 1-2-3, Sonata and Storm win this. I think we're leading towards a 6-man at Bound for Glory. I think it's James Storm, the Great Sonata, and Manic against Tajiri, Austin Aries, and the Great Muta. I think that's probably what we're going to have happen. I don't know what Manic's going to be when he comes back. Obviously, we know what Manic looks like underneath the mask, but I don't know what they're going to do with this. At this point, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Manic, because I mean they've really booked Manic very strange. Like obviously it started out as the suicide character from the video game that really didn't go very well, unfortunately, because it wasn't a bad video game. Honestly, it just wasn't. But yeah, I mean, are we going to see the face of T.J. Perkins again? I think we might actually at this point. Sonata became the Great Sonata. I don't know what Manic's going to become here. It should be interesting to see where we go with this. So, the Hardys are in the back, and they promise the table match will be violent. It's table time. Not title time. It's table time. The Hardys won the first across the street, obviously talking about Madison Square Garden. And history does repeat itself. We will take the first step to now become the TNA World Tag Team Champions. So Gale and Havoc finally find each other, and they start fighting backstage, and they fight all the way to the commercial break. And when we come back, Gale and Havoc are fighting on the top of the ramp. So Gale fights back, and they brawl. Security comes out to separate them. Havoc chokeslams one of the security guys, and throws another one down. So yeah, Gail Kim and Havoc are going to have quite a fight on their hands at Bound for Glory, to say the least. And then she looks at her and says, "I'm coming for you, Gail." So next week it's official, and by next week I mean tomorrow. Impact, No Surrender. It's going to be a #1 contenders battle royal to determine the challenger to Gail Kim and the Knockouts Championship. There is also going to be a match between Gunner and Bram. I don't know exactly what the significance there is, but Gunner and Bram are going to go at it. And you're also going to see a matchup between, other than the fact that they look alike in every single way possible, it's a mirror match basically between Gunner and Bram. You're going to also see the X Division Championship on the line. It is going to be the winner of the Scramble match from last week's episode, which would be Homicide taking on Samoa Joe for the X Division Championship in a feud that has been all over the world and in every promotion imaginable. In the independents, Homicide and Joe have gone at it, and they're going to go at it again for the X Division Championship at No Surrender tomorrow. And last and certainly not least, TNA World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Lashley defends against Bobby Roode. So that's going to be an awesome, awesome No Surrender. I really like to see this show, to be honest. Main event time. The next in the series to determine who are the undisputed TNA World Tag Team Champions. Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards are current reigning and defending TNA World Tag Team Champions. The Wolves defending against Bully Ray and Devon of Team 3D, as well as Matt and Jeff Hardy. So let's pick it up midway through the match, shall we? So Matt tosses Eddie, and then he tosses Davey Richards for good measure. Jeff Hardy comes in, and Matt sends Davey through. Basically what he does is Matt drops Davey Richards throat first on the bottom of the table. Like, the table legs? He drops him on the bottom of a table. So the Hardys go for a front suplex, and they basically gourd buster Eddie on the side of a table. Two unique things we have not seen, if at all, before. If we have, it's definitely not been something that's happened very often. Hardy set up the table. Matt goes outside, brawls with Bully Ray on the floor. Jeff comes in, lays Eddie Edwards on the table, and drops an elbow for good measure. Goes up top. Eddie leaps up, punches Jeff, and he climbs up. Devon pulls the table, and Eddie Edwards superplexes Jeff Hardy. Not through the table, but just to the canvas below. Davey hits a step-up enziguri kick on Devon, and Eddie Edwards starts 10-punching Devon in the corner. So Bully sets up a table, and a chop to the back, nice back chop, puts him on the shoulders, going for the Dudleyville device in this case, and Jeff and Davey pull the table, and it looked rather awkward, but it still landed somewhat. Bully chops Davey. Davey with a round kick to Bully, and Davey pinballs both members of 3D back and forth, nailing one, then the other, with round kicks, back and forth, round kick to Bully, round kick to Devon, and back and forth, comes off the ropes, and Davey Richards ran over with a double shoulder block courtesy of 3D. Double whip on Jeff Hardy, charges in, and 3D eat 1 foot each from Jeff Hardy, and Whisper in the Wind connects off the top. Matt comes in, tosses Devon, sets up a table in the corner, setting up your own demise. Matt punches Bully, lays him on the table. Matt is knocked down, and he gets on all fours. Jeff springs off his back, and instead of poetry in motion through the table, they actually change the direction, and instead, he springs off Matt's back and does a front drop kick, but he finds nothing but going through the table because his victim has moved out of the way. So Bully elbows Matt, tells Devon to get another table. Fans, of course, loving this, loving every second of it. They put it outside at the bottom of the ramp. Nothing good's going to come out of this. Double suplex on Matt is set up, and the Wolves with stereo topes to all three men on the floor. Jeff sends Davey into the ring steps, gets the table, bridging in between the steps and the ring apron. Upside down. This will not end well. Or, if you look at it, it probably won't happen at all. Eddie chops Matt, sends him hard in the rail. Jeff goes for a suplex, gets blocked, float over. Eddie goes for a German suplex, and Jeff goes... excuse me. Of course, Jeff elbows out. Eddie goes up top, and flying body press to Hardy. Matt tosses in Davey Richards. They trade punches. Forearm boot. Goes for the twist of fate. Gets tossed off. Eddie in. Pop-up kick to Matt Hardy. 3D bum rush the Wolves. Send them out of the ring. Bully takes the table. Slides it into the ring. Boot to Eddie. 3D set up the table. 3D is set up, and the Wolves break it up with Eddie tossing Devon. And a table is basically cracked. Matt's face is on the table. The Wolves go up top, and Bully basically crotches Eddie. Jeff knocks Davey to the floor. Jeff knocks Bully to the floor. Pescado to Bully, and Matt ends up doing a rope assist twist of fate on Eddie Edwards. Kind of like the snakebite DDT from Randy Orton, when he does it not off the ropes, but in the corner. He does that like a rope assist of the twist of fate, so it worked really well. So Matt put Eddie on the table, Jeff goes up top, and swanton through the table. The Hardys have tied the series 1-1, and now the tag team champions are in severe disadvantage because not only do they have to win one, they have to win 2 straight. And the Hardys set up a ladder in the center of the ring, and they climb the ladder, and obviously we know what's going to happen next. Ladder match to determine the next that is the next stipulation. So obviously 3D won, and now we have the Hardys winning. So in order to retain the tag team championships from 2 of the best tag teams in the history of the business, the Wolves are going to have to win 2 straight. Not only are they going to have to win a ladder match with the Hardys and 3D, they're going to have to win the rubber match between all three teams whenever that does happen. And it sounds to me like the perfect stipulation for that match will be Full Metal Mayhem, which makes perfect sense. That's going to be the case. So, yeah, I enjoyed this episode of Impact. I did. I would say that you can check out MLK against Bobby Roode, Eric Young, and Samoa Joe. That was good. And I would check out Storm and Sonata against Tajiri and Aries. I would check out the main event. And a lot of the promos. Definitely check that stuff out. I mean, TNA's been on a roll lately, so hopefully you guys and girls out there watch No Surrender tomorrow. I mean, I can't, unfortunately, but I'm not saying unfortunately because of what I'm missing for it, what I have to go to instead, what I want to go to instead. But it sucks that I can't actually watch the show. Hopefully I'll get to watch it eventually. But like I said, I will probably be on the run from Santanico Pandemonium probably by the time that Impact is on, or potentially Michael Myers, depending on how you look at things. Depends on how quick it takes me to get around the park. So that would be your Impact recap for the day, and wrestling content will return to pop for sure in the beginning of October, and if not before then, I'll try to do a No Surrender video if I can. I can't promise it, but I'll try. So, in the meantime, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about Pop. If you haven't yet, go to Facebook, click like on our Facebook fan page. It is Suro and Disney Pop. Send me a friend request on Facebook. I'd appreciate that. So and Disney. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, see all my adventures in Orlando, Halloween Horror Nights, and Disney and Universal, and all points in between, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Suro and Disney. Or if you'd like to send me comments, or you would like to become a Popcaster yourself and become part of this Popcaster revolution, we are small, we are mighty. Or if you understand that this Sunday, the 21st, the night of Champions, is my birthday, so if you'd like to send birthday wishes, you can do so to my email, suroanddisney@gmail.com. So, in the meantime, thank you guys and girls out there for watching. I'm going to go enjoy Orlando, rain or shine. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.